Hi everyone, it's Amanda Rieger Green. I am here to offer you a bit of insight into energies in the second half of May and offer messages from the collective. I know that we are now beyond the midpoint, but now the energies are shifting and time has really started to change. And I'm not sure if you've noticed this, especially between the time of 2020 and as we have transitioned into 2021, there's almost an expansion and contraction of time. There are days when it feels like things lag, and there are other days where they zoom by. I often find myself looking back at meetings and discussions with people, and I think, we just had this discussion a week ago, but it feels like I had it in December. So something is shifting in our energy field, and I'm not sure if you're feeling it, but there is a change in time. And so as we start to shift and make this paradigm shift into newer versions of reality, the way that we look and perceive ourselves within that reality is changing. So I've said often, more is no longer more. The output, the quantity of output doesn't necessarily yield quality results. So being able to maximize what you are putting out into the universe, and whether it is through your thought processes, your emotions, your physical actions, your interactions, the visions that you are wanting to bring to life, whatever that may be, really working to condense it, consolidate it, so it is clear, it's relevant to you, and it also feels like a maximum value of your time, your talent, and your energy field, rather than feeling like you're spinning your wheels. And I understand what this feels like. Most of us do. I know when I get into a mode where it feels resistant and I am highly focused, my energy is contracted and I'm working, trying to get a million things done, and it feels resistant versus expansive. So more than anything, especially for the remainder of May, if you can prioritize some time to recognize when you get into that contraction mode of focus, I've got to get these things done, I've got to get checking boxes and getting everything outlined, getting it done yesterday, that kind of energy. And it's not that it's negative. There's nothing negative about this. It's about recognition. It's about awareness of energy, about how things feel, how the output of your energy feels. There's a feeling of contraction. Think about it logically. When you're on the computer or you're on your phone and typing and you're hunched over and you're typing and you're getting things done and you're, multitasking and doing 25 things, because our lives are busy. We have a lot on our plates. That's just life. That's reality. But when you feel that energy, that feels very frenetic, it feels contracting, feel it, notice it. And the more that you become present to that contracted, restrictive energy, then you can recognize where you can step back and invite in a bit more spaciousness, a bit more grace, a bit more peace, a bit more flow. And that can be as simple as stopping, recognizing the contraction within your energy field, and saying, hey, let me take a breath. Let me oxygenate my body. So 3 or 4 breath cycles, 4-second inhales, hold, 4-second exhale, hold. Repeat that 3 or 4 times, and then go back to what you are doing, feeling a little bit more expansive. And there will be days where you may have a laundry list of items that are coming your way that need to be completed or accomplished, but you can also find more abundance in your time. Just to begin to notice. That's my one encouragement for the remainder of May, is to notice when you feel contracted, or notice when you feel scattered or restricted in your energy field, and just become willing to step back a minute, reset through your breath, and potentially your intention. And it's easy to say something like, okay, I am resetting my energy for greater spaciousness, time, and abundance in all of the aspects that are coming at me in this time frame, in this day. There will be an abundance of time and energy, and I will add in more joy, more ease, more flow, and a greater perspective of what can be accomplished through more intentional energy. Okay, so that's a good start. I'm going to just deliver a few messages from the collective. And when I do that, just so you know, if I'm not looking directly at you, it's not because I'm not wanting to, but when I go into a semi-trance state, so when I move into different aspects of the subconscious and my unconscious and the collective unconscious, I go somewhere else. So don't think that I am looking away from you, but that's what it is. So here's some messages from the collective. As we move into the remainder of May, and they're making me laugh a little bit because they're saying it's important to laugh. It's important to let out energy. It's important to lighten up in who we are and why we are and what we're doing, and really start to identify what drives us, what motivates us, and what our longings are. What do we long for? What do we desire? And I have a big smile on my face because the energy is actually quite lighthearted. And even though we are in intensely immense times, there is a lightness and an expansion coming in that is offering us more insight, more intelligence, more wisdom, and more awareness of varying aspects of ourselves, varying aspects of who we are, why we are, what we came down onto this planet to contribute, to offer ourselves, to grow, to heal, to learn, to shift, to expand, but also to bring service and light onto this planet. And as we start to incorporate more light, love, and intelligence into our body, it is uncomfortable. It hurts. It's frustrating because we want to stay in the old paradigm. We want to stay in a more contracted, restricting energy. It feels good. We know it. We can control it. We know how to micromanage it, but that's not the energy. We're moving into an energy where creativity is key. Moving back and stepping back and asking for a broader perspective is what is being invited into our consciousness. It is being invited into our day-to-day actions and interactions, and it is also being invited onto this planet at this time. So when you feel frustrated, when you feel limited, when you feel like you cannot figure out the clearest way forward, when you're aggravated, when you're angry, when you're impatient, notice that. Move into that space of restriction and limitation and become willing to thank it for how it has served you in the past, how it has gotten you where you are, but that it may no longer be what harnesses you into greater happiness, love, joy, peace, healing, and ease. The rest of the month is not going to be easy, nor is June, and that doesn't mean that it's going to come at you, it's going to break you down, but what it means is it is time to focus, it is time to pay attention, it is time to get clear and present to our present, to be still, to move more slowly, but to also recognize the abundance of opportunities that are waiting for us if we can get still and recognize the infinite wisdom and opportunity that we all have to bring more light, love, and intelligence onto this planet. All I can do is laugh a little bit because it's simple, yet it's not easy. So more than anything, getting clear and present to what you're feeling, your energy, your body, your posture, our posture, really being able to open up, and especially opening up the heart and the throat chakras at this point in time so you can begin to expand your consciousness. That's very important. That's very important for the rest of this month. Also, a couple of things. Pay attention to your dreams. With Jupiter in Pisces, it is a dreamy time, and I have had multiple prophetic dreams and people coming to me sharing experiences where they are really, really starting to tap into precognition in their dream state. So it's a great time for a dream journal, or to go to bed at night and say, hey, higher self, help me to connect some dots, to heal, to learn, to grow, to shift in my dream state, and help me incorporate and recognize that in my waking state. And the more deliberate and disciplined you are in that dialogue, especially at night with your higher self, the more you will start to see patterns, the more dialogue will emerge, and the more that you will start to find a greater sense of flow and continuity and synchronicity in the day-to-day. And it will help. It will help you find a bit more meaning and a bit more direction as far as those longings and desires within yourself and within your interactions and the direction and vision you are going, especially for the remainder of 2021. We're also moving into eclipse season, so there is a massive Sagittarius full moon lunar eclipse that is happening at the end of the month. Sagittarius being the philosopher, the gypsy, and the student. And full moons are about shedding and letting go, and eclipses are 6-month cycles. So this is not a one and done energy, but it really is an energy where we get to start to shed old dogmas, old practices, old teachings that once served us and are now limiting our view, our expansion, our perception, seeking new horizons. So rather than being the professor, the philosopher, or the teacher, moving into the role of the student of life, the student of yourself, the student of your soul. And then, of course, we have Mercury retrograding in Gemini, which is going to be a kick in the pants, really more a kick in the mind, because Mercury rules Gemini, and this is all about the brain, the mind, the lower mind. And, of course, there's nothing low about the brain or the mind, and we only use a minute capacity of our brain. Yet, we are evolving and mutating pretty rapidly as human beings. There are genetic mutations that are happening in our cells and DNA, and children that are being born a bit more evolved with different mutations. So this is a time to recognize what is being revised and edited within the way that you gather and share information. So it's a time to get curious. It's a time to revise what your plans are, what you think, what you believe, what you know, and maybe be able to see things from a different perspective. And this will really lapse over into June, so we won't be coming out of this until late June. So it's a really good time to edit your plans, your processes, your thoughts, your actions, your interactions. Not so much a time of execution, not that you don't suit up and show up and do what's in front of you, but it's really more of a time of contemplation, revision, especially in the way that you think. And if you can become mindful of this time, I really do believe that there is opportunity for greater awareness and greater activation of the brain, our brain capacity, and working on rewiring of the neural networks in the brain, and helping the right and the left hemispheres of the brain bridge and communicate better. So the binary thinking with the creative, the linear mindset, the analytical, practical, pragmatic mindset with the creative, the intuitive, and what's fanciful, because we are moving into that paradigm where it is imperative to incorporate our visions, our dreams, our fantasies, and our creativity, and marry that with a solid practical foundation. And last but not least, Saturn is retrograding, and it will be retrograde through October, early October. And so during this time when Saturn retrogrades, Saturn is retrograding in Aquarius, the sign of the future, the visionary, the sign of the humanitarian. So this is a really good time to go within, and Saturn is the sign of karma, it's the sign of maturity, and so really asking yourself, what is maturing and shifting within me that is going to help predicate, my future visions, dreams, and goals? How have I grown? How have I evolved? How am I shifting and changing? What's changing within? And again, it goes back to that Sagittarian eclipse that we're talking about becoming the student and really, really listening. This is a wonderful time to use the two ears and close this a bit. And it's not that it's not a great time to communicate. It is. It's a fantastic time to gather and share information, but to truly listen, to listen to other people, listen to yourself, listen to your soul. So really opening your ears. And I'm sure you can hear the birds around me. I live in Belize and I can hear all the sounds of nature and the birds. And it is wonderful to get outside, away from our devices and phones and these earbuds. And I love to wear these earbuds because they're helpful when I record, but I can feel the waves messing a little bit with my frequency, and so I only wear them for limited time. So get outside and listen to nature. It recalibrates our energy field and it brings us back to center. It's a great time for sound baths, any kind of sound healing, mantras, meditations, anything that requires really listening and recalibrating the way that we hear, see, perceive, and receive information. So it's a reformulation period within ourselves and within the maturity that is going on, not only internally and on a macro level, it's also, or micro level, it's also about the macro. It's about humanity. It's about the shift in consciousness. And it's a big energy. It's a big time. June's going to be pretty intense. I will do a channeling and offer some information into June in a week or so, but I hope this is helpful. Hang in there, show up with your whole presence. Recognize when you feel that you are overly exerting your energy. Feel that frenetic energy. No shame, no blame. Just become willing to recognize it and become willing to invite in a greater sense of expansion and ease in whatever you are facing, moving through, healing, processing, or experiencing. Take care, everyone.